a large cloth used to keep sunlight out of a room. For example, I am going to get up and draw the podcast.
Hello and welcome to another bonus episode of Kill James Bond. I'm November Kelly. I'm joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hey!
Hey, how we doing?
The bonus is a special episode that we release because you pay for it. We're very grateful for you doing so. Example, you are now listening to this bonus episode. I've wanted to do this for a while. We're talking about Dogtooth.
That's right, baby.
Dogtooth is, I think, one of my favorite films. It's once again, you're going to get hit with a film that Nova is enthusiastic about, I'm afraid.
It's what I'm here for, honestly.
Yeah, it was really good. I really liked it.
It's one of my favorite films. It's a film about being transgender.
Yes.
It's a film about a bunch of things because it's a Yorgos Lanthimos film. And Yorgos Lanthimos doesn't like being too definitive about his films. If you read him being interviewed about any of them, he's like, I don't like to say that it's like an allegory. I don't like to say it's like about this exactly. And I think one of the things we're going to get into when we talk about Dogtooth is about kind of like slightly swerving the intended meaning of something or the precise definition of something. But it is definitely about being transgender.
Yes.
And the reason why we're doing all these bits to start with is because Dogtooth begins with a series of do you remember, if you're of an age for this, language learning tapes?
Yes.
No.
Of course not. No. Okay, so it's kind of like a podcast, but say you're in your French class or whatever, you would just listen to a cassette tape of somebody speaking in French, and they would have a bunch of sentences designed to aid language learning that would be very, very elementary, right? And
it's what Duolingo was before it was the owl.
Yes,
you'd
basically.
get a tape and it would play and it would be like chat. Le chat sat on le mat, but in French, obviously.
Exactly.
And it would teach you language.
Yes. Anymore. Yeah, and so we start with one of these tapes with new vocabulary, and we've mentioned before about Verfremdungseffect, right? This technique of alienating you from the thing that you're watching. You want some fucking Verfremdungseffect? We come out of the gate with some of it because all of the words that we learn are wrong.
Yep.
Yes.
We get definitions of sea and motorway and excursion, and they're all wrong. They're all wrong. Excursion is defined as a particularly strong material, and the example sentence is the chandelier fell off the ceiling, but was not damaged because it was made of excursion.
Yes.
It's what the fuck is happening?
My favorite, and I think the most poetic, is when they define carbine. A carbine is a beautiful white bird. And it is there is something slightly poetic about it. It feels like a metaphor that's not connecting, you know? And we have three young people in a bathroom just listening to these tapes.
They don't have names, as far as I know. Not in the script. There's two girls and a boy. I called them son, eldest, and middle.
I believe that is what the movie even calls them at some points. I was waiting to hear a name to start taking the notes of it. And I believe that they are just referred to as eldest, youngest, and son.
Yeah, they're never referred to by name in this.
They are not given names. They don't have names.
Also, and we may as well just start this straight away. There's camera shit, there's directorial, there's cinema happening in this.
Right now, yeah.
Because eldest is not seen in this scene. It's POV, you are eldest. And the camera is just on youngest. As she suggests that they play a game in the bathroom, the three of them, these three siblings, of running their fingers under the hot tap for as long as they can stand it and then taking it out.
Yes. From this, we gain two things. A, these definitions are wrong, which means that someone doesn't want these kids to know what these words actually mean. And B, fuck, are they bored? Holy shit, are they bored?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of inventing games for each other. And then just to throw you off a bit more, we go to a completely different scene where a woman wearing a blindfold is being driven in a Mercedes. She's wearing a security uniform. Interesting that the security thing on her shoulder is in English, by the way, because it's a Greek film. All the dialogue's in Greek. That's why I don't have any drops for it. But she's being driven somewhere with a blindfold on so she can't see where she's going. And the guy driving the car is like asking her about whether she likes the music that's on the radio, which is like really obnoxious, kind of sentimental, like Greek singer. And
again, we get like some cinema is happening, some director is in the scene, because the camera is just one angle. It's just on the lady's name is Christina. It's just on the back 3/4 view of her head from the back seat the entire time. We don't even see the man yet. It's all on her. And I've written something down here which kind of tells us a little bit about the style of acting that we're seeing. I don't know where this quote comes from, but I've always found it to be quite useful. And it's just because they call action doesn't mean you have to do anything.
That's right, baby.
And that is frequently what's happening in this movie, is that the camera will just sit and just look at a person, and that we won't get any cuts, we won't get any shots, and the person will just do nothing.
Yes.
That is a lot of the acting is just that.
This is a directorial and acting style with which I really vibe. I love this shit.
I love this shit.
As I understand it, our boy Yorgos likes to do this a lot.
Yes.
This is the first film of his that I've seen. Probably won't be the last.
It's mine too, yeah.
But apparently he does this a lot, and he likes to work with people who aren't like very trained actors.
Yes.
There's an interview that you linked us to them where he talks about like he doesn't like seeing actors who've clearly developed a plan, and that he likes to cast. So like one of the actors in this is just like a singer.
Yeah.
She's never acted before.
The younger sister married Sony, R.I.P.
Yeah, and they don't like to do a lot of prep. They don't like to do a lot of rehearsals. It's just like, just get in there and vibe it. It's very like devised theatre.
Yes.
Which is a style of working and a style of acting, which it's not one that I do a lot of. So I'm like quite intrigued by this style and by the kind of quite good results that it gets. I think it relies on very good casting.
Yes. But it's very instinctive. So we see the man who's driving her as he like gets out of the Mercedes to like unlock a gate over the road. This kind of older, alarmingly bald, kind of paunchy man.
This is Dad.
Yes.
This is Dad.
And he drives her to this very secluded house. And the gate closes behind her. It's like, high fences, high walls. It's not overlooked by anything. And do you remember the bit in Audition, right, where the dad is kind of like setting up his son to like have sex, right? He's like, I'm just going to take the dog for a like 30 to 45 minute walk around the block kind of thing. We kind of carry that a step further here.
Yeah, he sort of, we get the shot of him, like him and Christine coming into the room with the son. The son is sat there. I would call him excited. He's sort of like he's just sitting there waiting, basically, and then they come in.
Not effusively, I would say. He's not exercising hugely as well. He's doing the like
on pins. Maybe would be a better way of putting it than excited.
Yeah,
he's clearly waiting for it to occur.
This is a scheduled appointment. It's not a surprise.
100%.
I love the cinema shots. Is that the camera is again one shot, one angle. We don't move. And the camera is framed such that as Christina and Dad walk into the room, their heads are cut off. And then the son stands up to greet them and his head is cut off too.
Yes.
So it's very impersonal. There's like not a lot of humanity here. And again, with their heads framed out, like Dad leaves the room.
It's the cheap joke about the kind of violence of like cinema, of like photography, right? I shoot people and sometimes I cut their heads off, right? Like,
so Dad leaves the room and Christina and the son just undress, get completely naked. She fluffs him, she gets him hard, and then they fuck. Like, I wouldn't even use the word fuck. Like, fuck to me denotes a degree of like passion and intensity and desire.
They have sex, like
intercourse, I think, would be the word that I would use. Like
clinically, I believe,
clinical is an excellent word for this, especially since all of the like siblings we've seen have mostly been wearing white so far.
I was going to get into the white, like all of the buildings are as well, like the internals are all white.
It's very, very sterile, very clinical. I should also say about the sex scenes, because there are a few sex scenes in this, and all of them, to the best of my knowledge, are unsimulated, which is to say that the actors are like doing the sex themselves, right? There's no prosthesis involved. There's no camera trickery.
There certainly doesn't appear to be a prosthesis involved.
No.
Yeah, it's either like extremely well disguised or this is real. And it's like, I don't think you can do that.
I mean, this is interesting because Yorgos Lanthimos in his later career has been one of the kind of biggest adopters of intimacy coordinators. Like, he's talked a lot about how on Poor Things it was kind of like a sort of like important part of the process. this being 2009, right, before intimacy coordinators were invented, it's just, I think, something that follows from this devised theater thing, right, of being very instinctual. And it's very high risk, let's say.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I think in this instance, it like comes off. I think it's successful. I mean,
so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the actors, right? But like, as a kind of viewer of it, I think it works, right?
Whoa there, cowboy. That's quite enough of that. If you want to listen to the rest of this podcast, you're going to have to cross my palm with silver. That's right. This is real. This is the economy we live in. If you want to hear the full episode Dogtooth, you have to go to patreon.com/killjamesbond, all one word, and sign up today for as little as £5 a month. I used to do a bit where I would try to think of something that costs £5, but like, you know, what is that? That's one Tesco meal deal, basically. I'll see you there.